Hi, good evening, Bhavna and Ravi.
Good evening, sir.
So you guys managed to finish GA2?
Good evening, sir.
GA2 we are doing, sir.
Okay. What about GA1? Is that okay?
Yeah, that one we have completed.
Okay. How are you finding the course so far?
Good evening, sir.
I'm sorry, that was not audible. Could you repeat again?
Sir, are you hearing me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay.
Am I not audible?
Yes, you are audible, sir.
Okay. Just this a bit. So, how are you finding the course so far? Any particular challenges you guys have faced so
Yes, for me side, it is too difficult to me. Actually, I'm not a coding background,
far?
and
Okay.
I am ending with one diploma in data science, not going to uh,
Okay. Then in
diploma
your
in
case,
environment.
yeah, then in your case, it will be very important, this particular course.
Yes,
Uh,
actually, I find that when we seeing video, whatever you given with the assignment, it is not something. Sometimes it's not relevant. I feel like,
Mhm. Can you explain an example where you think it is not relevant?
like when we doing GA2, your first question, I might be quite confusing.
I'll pull it up on here anyway. Mm,
Like markdown things, no?
First question, is it Markdown?
Yes.
So what is not relevant here?
Means after seeing this, I can't able to submit my assignment. I can't understand how to where to uh, do this.
Okay, so you don't know how to create the Markdown file, you said.
Yeah, yes.
So Markdown is just a way of writing, um, creating some formatted text. Okay, it's very useful for documentation. That's why it's used a lot in many places. So, I mean, you can even embed things like LaTeX and things like that. So, you know, discourse, right? So
Yeah,
all the discourse posts are actually Markdown compatible. So it makes it a very
yes.
good data. Um, uh, I don't want to call it data storage format, but it's a very good file storage format for various types of uh, text
Yes.
files and things of that sort.
I understood that part, but when we're doing like question, like I can't understand like, how to do.
So you didn't understand this question, is what you're saying.
Yes.
Okay, so basically what you have to do is you just have to create a Markdown file that uses all these um, features of Markdown. So one quick way to do it is
It's
you
like a
just
imaginary steps, like we make
correct, yeah,
some.
yeah. It's just to get you used to the format. That's all.
So
So that you
where we make it is in.
so one place you can do it is you can just create it in VS Code itself, right? So if I say, for example, if I do this,
Okay.
right? So sample Markdown,
First,
right?
we
So
make the sample markdown.
yeah, so you can just start here, right? So this is the heading. Okay. Now VS Code has this nice feature. Well, I'm not sure if VS Code has it or I have an extension that does it, but either way, you can see the preview as you're typing. So that's a heading, right? And then this is normal text, right? And then if it's a numbered list, this is a numbered list. And then, if I remember correctly, I think,
So
yeah,
here in
dash.
VS Code, first we install the Markdown feature.
So VS Code, so Markdown, you don't need to install anything. It's just text, okay?
Okay.
And the preview is probably because I have an extension. I am not sure. Yeah, I have some extension here that allows me to preview what it looks like. But the bottom line is these are just text, okay? So, for example, this is, probably taking spaces. So if you look here, it made that bold, you know.
Yes.
This is port. And then this is something very useful, by the way. So in discourse, right? So say, for example, you want to put something in code that that you wanted someone to debug, right? So you can say, and then if I do that, you can see here it color codes it, right? So you can even put Python code in there. So instead of Bash, if I said Python, right, then this will
But
actually start formatting it as Python code
sorry to
in your
interrupt you. If possible, can you little bit zoom this?
yes. So that's all Markdown is. Okay, it's just a way of formatting text. So the only thing that this first assignment requires is that you use all these features: a top level heading, subheading, bold text, italic text. So you can see I've done some of these, right? So there's a bold, there's a heading. So if it's a smaller heading, then it will be with double hash. This is a subheading. Yeah. So that's all it is. They're just getting you used to the format. And you can use whatever you learned in here, right? You can use it in discourse as well. And you see sometimes people have some nice discourse posts, right? It's because they're using Markdown to write the post properly and to put code and things of that sort. So if I take, for example, some Python code, right? So let's use this, for example. So if I take this and put it inside this Markdown, right? Notice how it is colored, nicely formatted. So sometimes in discourse posts, you'll see people who have posted properly formatted code. The reason is they put it inside these code fence blocks.
Okay.
And they've mentioned what the code is, Python. So then it's able to properly format it so that it's readable to anyone who wants to understand what's going on. And we strongly suggest students to do this when they are posting on discourse so that we can debug and help them out, or others can help them out. So that's all it is. Okay. It's just a way of storing text in a beautiful way that is portable. There are many applications that can read it so you don't need any proprietary application to read it. And it's still human readable, right? Even if you look at this without looking at the preview, you can still make out what's going on. So it's very powerful and very useful. So that's all it is. Good evening, everyone. So we're just having a brief discussion before we start this session. So today, some of the main topics I'll try and cover is we'll be looking at Vercel, and I know last session they covered a little bit of GitHub Actions. If we have time at the end, I'll show you a bit of that as well. How to create Docker containers. I'll show you some aspects of FastAPI that you may not be aware of. Google authentication, Olama, how to run an Olama service, NGRock. So these are some of the things I'll try and cover today. Okay. So that's on the agenda. Is there anything in particular anyone has a burning question to ask before I actually start the session?
So also explain about little bit GitHub, how to, and also API.
All these will be part of the tools I'm talking about. So I'll still be using GitHub. I'll still be using the APIs. I'll show you how APIs work and those sorts of things. Okay.
Sir,
So
in week one, there was one question regarding LLM. I was not able to do that, sir. Rest I was able to do.
Mm,
One
that's
question
the
was there in G.
that's
In
the Llama, not Llama. It's the LLM on the prompt, right?
yes, correct.
Okay, I'll take that probably at the end of this session. Okay, because week one is finished. You're talking about this tool, right? Hello, am I audible?
Yes, I heard.
Okay, this is the tool you're talking about, right?
Yes, sir. This question.
Yeah. This is fairly straightforward. This one, there's nothing,
No, I was
nothing.
able to replicate as it was saying, but I was not getting the correct answer.
Embedding the vectors, is it? It could be because of the format. So you're supposed to put the format that comes out is supposed to look something like. Uh, it's supposed to look like. What is it? What question number was it? Number 17. It's probably because your format should look like this. The output should look like this. Okay, there is a square list bracket. It's basically a list of numbers. As long as it looks like this, and of course it has the correct numbers in there, then you'll get the correct answer. Yes, Siddhant.
Uh, Sir, for week submitted the assignment and it's showing not submitted, but score is zero
Yeah.
showing,
Don't worry
but
about that.
latest.
Yeah. So what will happen is we will take your best score before the. I shouldn't say best score. The latest score before your deadline. Whatever was your latest score. Okay.
Okay, sir, thank you.
So that's all it is.
So
It
just a
won't show
note.
up. Yeah. It won't show up in your uh, Seek portal itself, but once we publish the scores, it will be on your dashboard. We haven't published it yet. So tonight, what will
And
happen
sir,
is we'll pull the scores from the exam server, and then we will send you an email with what the score is. And then once we send you the email, we'll also send in that same email, we'll send you out a special discrepancy um, uh, link. So you click on the link, and if you have any dispute or if you have some discrepancy you want to note, then you can fill up the discrepancy on that form that we have sent, and then within a couple of days of that, then we'll publish your scores on the dashboard. Okay.
okay, sir, and one more thing, and the previous sessions, are they uploaded on YouTube or should we access through the links which are available in the Google
Yeah. All the
Scholar?
sessions are uploaded except the very last one, I think. That I think will be uploaded today. The
On
very
YouTube
last
or
session on YouTube. Yeah, they're all on YouTube. So if you go to um, let's link tools and data science. So yeah, if you go to playlists, so if you see the mail playlists, oops, yeah, okay. Anyway,
so
you
we
you can
can
see
see
it's
on calendar, and there is a link.
yeah. So there are 5 videos so far. Okay, there's a sixth video as
okay,
well,
okay,
but
got
that
it.
will.
Thank you.
Pardon? Sorry, what was that?
Chat.
It's available if you go to the Tools and Data Science website, right? At the very bottom is the link for it.
Okay, okay, sir,
Yeah,
thank you, sir. I didn't see it.
it's over here, TDS live sessions. So if you go there, it takes you straight to it. And the other thing I would mention is subscribe to it, okay? Because when we push the video on there, it sends you a notification that a new video has been uploaded. So you don't have to keep checking back to see if something has been put up or not. It will just notify you as soon as it gets put up there. Okay.
Okay, sir. Thank you, sir.
Right. Any other burning questions? So I can just start the session now. Okay. Right. So first thing what I'll do today is I'll show you close this and start opening the video. Oops. Let's try again. Okay, I don't know why that didn't get bigger. Just give me 1 second here. I hope that's better. Right. So first thing we're going to do is today we're going to create some APIs, okay? Simple APIs. And the purpose is to show you some functionality of the APIs, like, for example, how to read parameters from an API and things of that sort, okay? And then once we create some simple APIs, then we will use Vercel to run that application. Now, the question is, why do you need Vercel, okay, when you can just create a Flask server or something of that sort, right? Now, the thing with the Flask server is you need a server constantly running to keep it going, right? And if anyone knows about running servers, every second that you keep a server running, it's going to cost you money. So ideally, if it's a small thing, now imagine your boss tells you, I'll just give you an example of TDS itself, right? So imagine we have a use case, which is the discrepancy, right? At the end of each GA, some of you may have some discrepancies, right? You'll see your score, you'll say, oh, that's not the right score. This question is marked incorrectly for me. So we have two options. We can either spin up a VM, okay, that runs the service. It costs quite a bit of money to keep it running 24/7. But what is the use case? Only about 1,700 people will be accessing it. That will not all throughout the day. Ideally, you want something that is very, very lightweight, right? All it is a form, right? You don't need a whole full power of a server to run. And it should take some information and it should store it for us. And then we should be able to action upon it, right? A very simple process. So that's where Vercel becomes very, very useful. Vercel, you don't run a full-fledged server. All you do is you create some endpoints and they're run in a serverless fashion. It's a bit of a misnomer, but it is kind of the idea. They're just basically, each endpoint is just a function. So when you hit that endpoint, right, only for that instance, that function is run, and that's it. After you leave it, there is no server running. That's constantly in use. So from a scalability perspective, right, for a small use case, and you could have many of these kinds of small jobs that you require. Many corporations use this serverless design to create small little modules or small little applications that don't require a full-fledged server. It's very cost-effective for organizations, and it is only for things that have a limited time use case. So you're running a campaign, you want to get feedback from people. Create some endpoints, you don't need a lot of configuration, and that's what Vercel is used for, right? So that's what we'll do today. I'll create a couple of API endpoints, we'll interact with them, and then we'll create them in Vercel. Yes, Akbar.
So are there any free platforms that over which we can host our full stack and like a complete web app like for some
Yeah,
time
of
or
course.
therefore?
Yeah. There are such platforms are available, but we won't be discussing that today, okay? Because we are not doing full stack server at the moment, right? So,
Yes, yes.
but those kinds of things are available. You can do a full stack server. You can even host it from your home, even. I mean, I've done that in the past, right? But we'll
Okay,
not
sir. I was
discuss
just
that
asking
today. Okay.
for that. Yes, sir. I was
Yeah,
just
yeah,
asking that if is it possible or not. Thank you.
yeah. Okay. So I hope you guys are following on your computer if you can. I won't spend a lot of time debugging what you're doing because this is mostly a teaching session. Okay, so I'll mostly demonstrate and you can ask questions along the way. Okay. So first thing I want to do is I want to create a new repo. Okay, because that's how we always start our projects. So let's see. Yeah, so I'll go to documents and in there I have a place where I always manage all my GitHub repos. So let's create a new repo, right? So make directory, we'll call it TDS 2025 to keep things all nice and tidy. And we will call this uh, V experiment, okay? So Vercel experiment. Um, and then I'll go to this directory.
Sorry, sir.
Yeah,
All these things you are doing in VS Code,
sorry.
in which you write all these code.
So this is in Linux, okay? I'm just using the Bash terminal.
Okay.
Okay, so I'm not going to explain the Bash terminal because there are many sessions that covered that.
Uh,
Uh,
Sir, can
so
you little
Sir,
bit
is that
zoom?
same as Ubuntu session, sir?
yeah, yeah. This is Ubuntu.
Okay.
This is a full-fledged Ubuntu machine. Okay, I'm running a VM, so this is a proper Ubuntu machine.
So when we say
But
Ubuntu
what?
or Bash terminal, both are one and same, sir.
Okay, so just to clarify, right? So Linux is an operating system, and there are many distributions of Linux. Okay, different flavors, if you will. So one of them is called Ubuntu. Okay, and in to interact with the Linux machine, right? There are two ways to not just Linux machine. Any computer to interact with, there are two ways. Either you can use a graphical interface called a GUI, or you can use a terminal of some sort. Okay. Initially, computers only came with terminals. The GUI only came later. Uh, why do we use the terminal? Because you can do virtually everything from the terminal that you want to do to interact with the computer. And from a programmatic perspective, when you're running applications, terminal is king. So Bash is a name of a terminal that interacts with the core Linux machine. So that's what Bash is. So you can get Bash for Windows, but I do not suggest using that. The reason being, underlying the Bash in Windows will just be Windows, right? So uh, some things may not work. Whereas here, this Bash terminal interacts directly with the Linux machine in the underneath it. So that's why we strongly suggest you using WSL or a Linux VM, or you can use macOS. macOS is a Unix-based system, so that also will work. Now, almost everything you can do in Linux will work in Mac, with some minor differences in some certain cases. Okay, is that clear?
Yeah. Yeah, it's
Okay,
better, somewhat better, sir. No problem. Thank you.
okay, okay. So right, so I created this directory, right? I've not created a GitHub repo yet, and it's called pexp. Why is that ready to? Uh,
So
We are
if
not able to
possible,
get
can
the recording
you
of this.
little zoom?
sorry, I could not hear that. One at a time.
So can you little bit zoom?
I tried to zoom it, but for some reason it didn't get bigger. It just made the window bigger.
Sir, we are not going to get the recording of this session. So I'm like,
Uh,
while practice, if we require some of this, then will you please share the repo at the end of the session?
no, there will be a recording. I hope that's better.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
But sir, we got an official and like official mail to us that there won't be any recording available to us.
Okay, so the reason they send that out is if people don't attend the sessions, right, then there is no point of the sessions, right? See, now we are interacting, right? But many courses, students are not attending. So that's why they sent out a generic mail to all students saying that they are going to cut back on sessions because people are not attending them and just watching recordings. So that's the reason they sent it. We'll keep sessions as long as there are students in the sessions. If there's only one or two students, then we have to question the value of the session. Right? So that's the reason. But
Yes,
we
sir, that's what I'm saying.
we specifically didn't send out that email. It was sent out by the BS team.
Yes, sir, yes, sir. I'm saying that I won't be getting the recording. So can you please share the repo that you are working with so that while
No,
practicing we
no.
can have some.
This is being recorded. This session is being recorded and it'll be on YouTube. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Right. So back to where we were. So all I did was I created a working directory where I want to start my application. So I hope you can see this, right? It's all very clear, right? So far, nothing fancy happening. Next thing is I initialize my Git repo. Okay. So for that, I use the command git init. I'm not going to show you how to install Git. If you don't know, watch some previous sessions to see how that happens. So you can see, okay, the application, the Git has been initialized. Now, of course, we want to put some files in this, right? So let's do that. Okay. So typically, the first thing you want to put is like probably a README. So there are two ways to do it. I mean, you can just do touch README, and that just creates an empty file. But what we can do is we'll just do something a little bit more. Okay. So we'll say, and I'll put it in Markdown format. So if you remember, we were just talking about Markdown earlier. So I'll say this is a Vercel demo, right? So that's the heading. And then I'll put a /n, so new line. And then in the new line, I'll say some endpoint functions will be demoed. Okay, that's it. Okay, so now one thing I forgot to mention is if there are going to be special characters like this /n, right? Just put a dash, I think E. Okay, it will then instead of using this as literal characters, it will recognize them as new line. Okay, so it will recognize the escaped characters. Then, if you remember in previous sessions, this little angle bracket means you will take the output of this command, which is the echo command, and you will send it to. So in this case, we'll send it to a README. Okay, and this time it's a Markdown file. So let's have a quick look and see if how that turned out, right? So let's go here. I created this directory. Open it. Yes. So just make this slightly bigger for you so you guys can see. So you can see there's a README file here, right? And you can see it created it and it created with the end line. And if I do a preview, you can see the thing was created, right? So I did this literally in fractions of a second, okay, without opening any application. Right. So we created a README file. Now the next thing is I want to commit this file, right? So before I commit it, I have to stage it. So in this case, I'll say git add dot. So can someone tell me what git add dot does? Real quick. Open a mic and speak.
It will put it into the stage which can be committed later.
Correct. So it will start tracking the files once I say add. The dot means track everything. So there could have been 50 files or there could have been one file. So instead of individually telling to track one file at a time, I said track everything. So now I've added it to the Git repository to start tracking it. The next thing after tracking it is I'm happy with whatever has been created. So I say git commit. M means message. What is the message? This is the first commit. Okay.
Sir, we are not able to see your screen completely on the left side.
Left side, is it?
Yeah.
Is it only? Is it only?
No,
Only
actually, I
one?
think when you increase the font, then since then we are not able to see the complete thing on the
Sir,
left side.
only partial command we can see. We cannot see left side what you are writing.
Okay. Let me just stop sharing and start sharing.
No. Left side where everything seems to be visible.
No, no.
I
I
guess
see.
there is one
Can you see
problem with the
commit
font size.
CO? I can only
Yes,
see
sir, mine too, everything
MMID.
is
I won't see the CO and probably the prompt on the left side.
Okay, I'll just stop sharing and start sharing it. Okay,
so we can share
maybe
it.
that will fix it. Because according to Google, it's recording the whole screen.
Now,
So
I can see it, sir.
okay, all right, that's good. Okay. So I'm going to commit this message, right? First commit, and then I will say yeah. So I think that's it, right? Git commit, and it committed the file. And one way I can visually just check is if I go here, you'll see there's nothing to commit. Now, we have so far only created the repository on my local machine, but that's of no use to anyone, right? So the next thing we should do is we've got to create a GitHub repo online, right? But if you remember, that was a very tedious process if you use the what do you call for it, the the browser and all those sort of things, right? So instead, we can just use some commands to do it directly. So I've got a little cheat sheet here, right? So all I have to do is I say GitHub repo create and the username and password, username and the repo name, right? So I'll do that. So I do git gh repo create, okay, and this is the username, right? And then I'll put the name of the repo. I'll call it the same thing as my directory. It's usually a good idea to keep them same. Then I have to say what the source is, right? So dot means it is everything in this particular folder. And then one more thing is to push it, right? So if we look here, yeah, and also we want to, for now, I suppose we can make it private and we can push it, or we can make it public and we can push it. So that's what I'll do. I'll just make it public for now, and I'll say push.
One question, sir.
Yeah.
Is GH a command or is it some kind of aliases?
No, it's not an alias. It is GitHub CLI. So you have to install GitHub CLI and it will work. Now, you saw me how long this took me, right? This literally took me like maybe 10 seconds. Okay. Now watch what it did. I'll go here, right? github.com, and we called it VX, I think it was. And watch this. I never created this repo before, but everything is here already. And it took me just 10 seconds to do it. Now, this is the power of using the CLI, right? Clicking, doing, that's of no good to anyone unless you're an amateur, right? When you're out there in the professional world, your boss expects you to get things done quickly and not take half a day to do it, right? Now, within a matter of seconds, we created a repo, we committed everything, and we also put it on the GitHub. Okay. So,
So
and
what
all
about
it,
adding a license?
sorry?
So what if we want to add a license while creating it? I mean, like MIT license or something?
Yeah, you can add license and everything, right? So that's not an issue. At the moment, I'm not going to do that because I want to cover Vercel. So this is how you can, within seconds, right? Once you have all whatever the necessary requirements are complete, are installed. So from week one, remember I told you week one, all the prerequisites, you're going to use these tools again and again. If you've gone through week one and you've managed to do all that, this will only take you a few seconds and will save you a bunch of time. Okay. So now we have a repo, and now what we'll do is we'll create some Vercel applications. Okay. So what before we create the Vercel application, it'd be nice to just test it out locally, and then we can test it on Vercel. So that's what we do. Now for a Vercel application, I'll close this. So everything is still visible, right, for you, for all of you?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So right. So we'll create. So I'll create a folder. Okay. So call it API because we're going to make some APIs, and in there I need let's call it index.py. Okay, and now we'll use FastAPI. So one of the reasons we use FastAPI is it's very good for making asynchronous gateway applications for use on the internet. So it's a very, very good application. Okay. Not that you can't use Flask, but there are many advantages to FastAPI. Okay. We'll create an app, FastAPI. Okay. And then we want an endpoint. So we'll do that. Okay. So this is the basic endpoint. And then we'll just call this the index. And so far everything is just basic things. So it's not going to take much time. We just want to get it up and running so we can see that it works. Oops. Okay. Yeah.
So
That's
here
done.
we can see it give us a suggestion, right?
Yeah, it's auto suggesting because from week 1, if you remember, we showed you how to install GitHub Copilot, right? So that's what I'm using.
Okay, good.
So to make it faster. Right. So now we have an endpoint. Now, typically, when you're creating a Vercel application, you don't need to run the service by putting main and all that sort of thing. Okay. But in this particular situation, if we want to run this endpoint, then we're going to have to do that. So just 1 second. 1 second. I'll be back in just a second. Okay. Right. So right. Okay. So we'll create another. Okay. I think what we'll do is we'll run this. That will be a good thing to do. Okay. So the next thing you need in a Vercel application is you need to tell Vercel what are the requirements. So in order to do that, we need to create a requirements file. So we'll create a requirements txt. Okay, and we need FastAPI. Okay, and then we'll see if there's anything else that's required. And then the next thing you need to do is you need to tell Vercel how to build it and what the routes are. Okay, so we'll create another file, and this will be called vercel.json. Vercel.json, and this tells Vercel what the how to build the application and what the routes are. Okay, so first thing is builds, and in builds is an array, so there will be a square bracket that you have to use, and then the next thing is you'll have to put some curly brackets in there to do various types of builds. In our case, it's a very simple build, so next thing we'll have to say is what the source of the file that we're trying to build, and in this case it will be API index.py, and then we want it to use. So here is where we tell what to use to build it, and we'll say it's Vercel Python. Okay, and okay. And then the next thing is we want to tell what routes are there. So So roots are endpoints, okay? For those of you that don't understand the terminology. And then once we get the roots, again, we have to tell what kinds of roots are there and where to send them. So what endpoints are there and where to send them. So what we'll do is we'll say whatever the endpoint is, okay, whatever endpoint. So this slash represents the home of the endpoint. So you know when you go to a browser and you, so this is the first part of this is the domain name, right? So this is the domain name. So when we say slash, that means up till this point, okay? It's like the root of your server or something. Okay, you can think of it that way. So we are saying anything from the domain upwards. So all roots basically. So that's what this means. And then we are telling where to, what file it needs to use to identify what to do with those endpoints. So when someone triggers that endpoint, which file has the information to run it, right? Which file has the function to run it. So again, in our case, it is the API index file, right? It's because we have made only one file. Now, in theory, you could have separate routes and they go to separate files and all that. But we just want to see how this works, right? So all routes send it to this index.py file. We have only one route at the moment, so that's fine. And then that completes all the important things we require to get it started. So next is, oh yeah, next is we have to commit this, right? So we made some changes. You can see there are all colored things. This shows things have been added. This shows some things have, so the red shows there's some error. It thinks there's an error because we haven't pip installed anything, right? So that's why it thinks that, but that's just not true. So then here's another advantage of having Copilot. I don't have to think of what to write. I'll just ask it to generate the message. It will generate the message, initialize FastAPI basic code, add requirements. Great. I just say commit. I say it a whole bunch of time. Sync the changes, say OK. Great. So it's committed, created the message, everything. And it, if we look on here, yeah, everything is on. Now, the beauty of Vercel is Vercel allows us, has very tight integration with GitHub. Okay. And so I'll say import. And what we'll do is we'll look for our application. I think it was called VEXP. What it was called VEXP. Oh, sorry. Yeah. Okay. Interesting. I'm not sure why it's not showing. Yes. Let's try TDS D25. That's not what I wanted. T2. I say it has tight integration and it fails me. That's funny. T2 VXP. VEXP. Why is this finding? Is it? Yeah, it is on here. Yes. 25. T2. Okay. Oh, right. I have to authenticate. Sorry. Just give me 1 second, okay, while I authenticate this. GitHub. Great. Okay. This is probably why I only told it to I restricted it. That's why. So that's the reason. T2. Yeah, there it is. So that's yeah, save. Okay, so the reason it didn't show up is because I had restricted not to look at my entire repository. Okay, so I only had given permission to look at one repo, and I've added this repo now. So for those of you that were wondering why it was not working or why in your case it is not working, you can either tell it to look at all the repositories and give Vercel access to all of them, or you can restrict them to specific repositories. So in my case, it didn't show up because I had specifically told it to only look at, allowed it permission to one repository. So I added this VXP now. So let's import it. And yeah, that's great. And I'll just say deploy. So it's building it now, installing required dependencies. We'll see if any errors or something crop up. So that's fine. So it's still working on it. Okay, so meanwhile, while it's doing all that, we'll go back to just developing this a bit further, okay, because I don't want to waste time looking at all those things. Right, so okay, so the next thing is just trust me that this works, okay, for now. Okay, something else we want to do is probably we want to typically your application, like particularly in the GAs, what will happen is you will give an endpoint to the GA web page. Okay, so the origin of your request is supposed to come from that web page. But what might happen internally is it might be internally doing something else, right? And the request may not come directly from that web page. So then there is this question of what is called cross origin requests or cores, as you might have seen, right? So sometimes there are some further processes that occur that means the request may not come from the originating website, it may come via a different website for some reason, right? So that's why cores becomes very important. So we're going to fix that here, okay? Even though we don't have any such issues here, but I want to demonstrate it here so that at least you're aware of how to fix these issues. So we'll call it middleware, okay? And this application, middleware, helps us to fix these cores issues, okay? So that's fine. And then the next thing is we add the middleware to our object, okay, our FastAPI object. And yeah, that looks okay. So cores middleware is one of the things that you require. We'll say allow from anywhere. That's fine. Allow credentials, true. So allow everything basically. Okay. This can be tailored for security. So you can sometimes tell, okay, I only want requests coming from this website or that website. So you can put a list here if you want it, right? So we don't want to make it complicated now. We're not too much worried about security at this moment. But this is how you control what can send you requests to your website, okay? And you can blacklist websites and blacklist methods and do various sorts of things. Okay. Let's have a look. Is this ready? Oh yeah. In fact, not only did it deploy it, it shows that the endpoint is working as well. So if we just continue to the dashboard. So this domain you see here, this is a temporary domain. Okay. Normally what happens is you have to pay for domain names. You have to buy a domain name, right? So if I go to, this is still active. Okay. Anyway, these kind of domain names, right? Things that you want, say you're starting a business or something, your business will have a domain name. You have to usually pay for these, right? Whereas in Vercel, what happens is when you deploy a Vercel application, it will give you a sort of free domain name. It won't be to your liking, but it's something that you can use to then expose your application to others, right? So that they can use it. So if I copy this, right, copy link, and I'll put it in our a chat window here, right? So what I want you guys to do is give it a try and see what happens,
So
right?
it
And when
was
you
for deployment. I mean, like, will there be any such issues? Because there we can edit the, I mean, like, domain names also.
sorry, I could not quite hear it. It completely broke up for me.
I said, sir, that can we do the deployment part on Netlify also? I mean, like, will there be any issue regarding deployment on Netlify? Because there we can also edit the domains also, domain names also.
I mean, even Vercel will have the ability to give you domain names, but you'd have to pay for it, I think, in Vercel. But yeah, you can deploy on wherever you want. There's no issues for us where you deploy it.
Actually, you can connect the hosting, the proper hosting. If you use for commercial use, is $20 a month. I think.
Yeah,
Now it may have changed.
yeah. This is just free, whatever this is. So you can see now, right? Without we actually didn't spend much time. I spent most of the time talking, right? But we created a server application, deployed it on Vercel, committed to GitHub, and it straight away starts working, right? Now, so far, okay, it doesn't do much. So we're going to now have it do something useful. Okay. So what we'll do is, and I've put in the Gmeet chat window the application, so all of you have access to it at the moment, right? So let's do this. Okay, and yeah, and then the next thing I want to do, let me look at my list of things I want to cover, so that I don't forget anything specific. Someone raised a hand. Hello. Okay. Yeah, by the way, if people are trying to come in using your personal ID, right, I'll not admit those people. You have to use your student ID to come in for the session, okay, just so that you're aware. That's why I got a ping here showing that someone was trying to attend the session. Okay, so the next thing is let's do something useful with this, okay? So I'll create an API endpoint now. And this API endpoint, let's see, I want to, yeah, this is paper. Yeah, okay. So this API endpoint will, because I'll do a few API endpoints, okay? So we'll call this params, okay? So that way we know this endpoint is for getting parameters. So I'll call these, like, you know, say for example, you want to search for something, right? You give some parameters for searching. Now, the other thing is when you send in some parameters, or whenever you hit an endpoint, what you're actually doing is you're sending a request object, okay, to the server. This request object, if you want to utilize it fully and see what's in the request object, then you have to use a feature of FastAPI called request. So I'll add it here now at the top. Oops, request. Oh, I think I already did, didn't I? Okay, yeah. Yeah. So there's each request you send to the server actually comes in a request object. Now, if you want to actually see what's inside the request object and utilize it fully, then we will use this request object to access all that. So I'll just call the variable name request. and we'll put it like this. Okay, so that means there is a request object that we want to look at. Okay, great. Now, ideally, we want to send some parameters to. So what I mean by parameters is there are many ways to send a request to an endpoint. Okay, one is through something called a post object, a post body. Okay, it's a JSON body. I'll explain that in just a little bit. And then another way, sometimes you might have seen, right, where you can just say something like this, right? You do, say for example, in our case, it's API params, right? So you have this endpoint, and then you want to send some parameters to. So something like name or whatever, class or something like that, right? Hobby or something, okay, equal to TDS, because whatever, right? And then things like time, something like this, right? So each of these, I know it's a bit difficult to see. Let me see if I can zoom in a bit. Oh, that doesn't make any difference.
Yeah, actually, it's very difficult to see, sir. Two things. One is font itself is small. Second thing is colors also not visible clearly.
Yeah, okay. I'll just copy paste this out of here so you can see it a bit better. I'm not sure how we'll fix this. I'll have to figure it out next time. So I'll just create some text file here. So it's just easy to see. Actually, we can do it here. Okay, so right. I hope this is a bit more visible, right? So this was the URL I was looking at, right? So when you want to send URL parameters, right, you will have some key value pairs. Okay, so like hobby, TDS, time 3, something like that. Okay, and there is an AND that separates out these key value pairs. So you can send information to the server. This is one way of sending it. Okay, through the URL itself, you can send information. And the other way is through a JSON body. I'll show you both those things. Okay, so that's all we are doing. Okay, so we got a request body here, and we want to read the parameters that come, that come in through the URL. Okay, parameters. Okay, and then this will be a list of parameters that we want to read, because we want to read more than one parameter. So then I'll say for parameter name in request. So request comes from here. Okay, this bit. So we're sending a request to this endpoint, and then it has some functions that you can use. So one of the functions that's very useful is called query params.keys. Okay. And what this does is, if you look back at this, right, these are the keys. Hobby is a key, time is a key, and these are the values. So you can think of them as dictionary pairs, right? And that's kind of what it is. So we'll get the keys over here, and we'll just have a look at it. Parameters dot append parameter name. Okay. I know I can print it off directly, but there is a reason I'm doing it this way. Okay, and then we'll also return it. So, oops. Okay, and okay, great. So now I created this. Sorry, did someone say? Sorry?
You're only appending the name, not capturing the value?
Yeah. At the moment, I'm only capturing the name. Okay, because, and like I said, there is a reason for that. I'll show you with values also afterwards. But I just want to demonstrate this real quick. So now we've added some more things to our Vercel application, right? So far, quite a number of things. So what I'll do now is I'll just commit it. I'll auto generate, and it says add course, update readme with something. Okay, great. Say yes. Sync the changes. Say okay. Right. Now, this is the beautiful thing. Watch this. As soon as I done that, right? Notice something. It's building. As soon as I committed it, it started building. Okay. And let's have a look at the logs. Okay. So I can see many people have tried that endpoint that I put up there. Okay, good. Let's go back to the overview. And it has finished building, I think. Yeah, so it's finished building now. Now let's have a look at this. Okay. I know it's a bit hard to read this. I'm really sorry about this. So next time I'll fix this. Okay. So for now, you just have to bear with me. So I think we called it API params, right? API params. Yeah. And we'll use this format that I was saying, right? And we'll put some parameters in there. Question mark, and I'll call it say name. So who's in this session? Let's see. So there's Shivam. Okay, so we'll put Shivam here. Okay, and we'll put an and symbol here, and then we'll put another name. Okay, perhaps we'll put Ulagav, I think. Ulagav. Right. And interesting, right? So we got a response, right? And let's look at the raw data. And it said parameters, and it said there was only one parameter. That's what it said, even though we actually sent two. Okay, now that's interesting. Okay, let's try one more experiment. Let's put we'll say class. Okay, class equal to TDS. Okay, let's send that. Interesting. So now the parameters that it has got is name and class. So when you're searching for parameter names, right? When you're using this query that you're running, it gets you all the keys, but it will be unique keys. So this is why I wanted to demonstrate this, right? So now the issue becomes, okay, well, how do we send multiple parameters with the same key, right? But multiple values, because that's useful, right? Sometimes. So yeah, we can try that, right? So we'll do that now. Okay. And that reminds me of something else also. I think in the logs, if we look at the logs, this is also very useful. Okay, the logs. So when I click on logs, these logs are exactly what you would have seen in your, if you were running the server locally on your computer, right? These logs will tell you the same outputs will come. So you see here it says name and time, but that's because, you see here I said print parameters. So what it did is in the logs on the Vercel server, it did the same thing. It printed that list. So it helps with debugging. So whenever you want to debug, right, you can go to logs to figure out what's happening with your server. Because sometimes you'll get errors and you're not sure what's happening, right? Because it's not running on your local system. So how do you figure that out? So you can debug it this way. Okay, so this is a useful thing. Right, so let's go back here. And let's get some values out of this, right? So we have the parameter names. That's great. Sometimes I don't like this autocomplete. Okay. So we'll say for value in parameter values. Okay, and yeah, we want the values, right? So let's do that. So let's create another list. Parameter values. Whoops. Apologies for the bad typing. Okay, parameter values, and we'll say for value in parameter values. No, sorry, I got that. We want this one, sorry. Yeah, we got a parameter name, right? So we say parameter name in, and now we can do something else. We can okay, before we do that, here. Okay, parameter value is equal to request dot query params, and there's another option, right? Get list. So this gets all the values associated with a specific parameter. Okay. I'll just comment this out for a second. Okay, so far we got the parameter names. That was great. Now with each parameter name, we want to get all the values associated. So there is a function called, so again from the request body, request object, query params, and there's a function called getList. But it takes an argument, getList of what? And you can put the parameter name that we got here and put it into values. Okay, so now that's done. Now what we'll do is we'll say for value in parameter values. Okay. And what we can do is we'll do one more change. I will call this. Yeah, I'll remove this from here. Okay, and what we'll do is yeah, that looks good. So what I've done is I've taken the parameter name, got the values associated with it, and for each value, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a name value key pair. Okay, so let's see what happens. So yeah, we still print parameters. And yeah, that also works. Okay, so that's the only modification I've done. I've taken each name and I've found its values, and then I've created a key value pair. Okay, let's commit it. The changes, say okay. Right. Okay, let's have a look. Look at that. It's already starting to build, right? Starting to build. So that's great. And then yeah, okay, I think it is ready. Yeah, it says ready. Just refresh this page, make sure. Yeah, it's ready. So let's go back here, right? We had initially put some values here, Shivam, Ulgao, something, right? Let's see who else is here. So we've got Suhani, right? Suhani has been very quiet, so we'll add Suhani to this list. And Suhani, sorry, name.
Sir, I just joined. I thought the class was starting at 9. So
yeah, no issues. Okay, and we'll say, we'll give some attribute for Suhani. We'll say Suhani is very diligent, so we'll say character or something like that. Character, very diligent. Okay, great. Now, look at that. We got the name. I hope you can see this. Look at that. We got the name. So even though initially, right, remember I told you when we got only the keys, they were unique keys, right? But now we got name value pairs for all of them in exactly the order that it was put in here, right? So what is this we are doing, right? What is this we are doing? This is exactly what an API is, right? An API is an endpoint that you can interact with programmatically, and it produces some result for you, right? That's what an API is. And that is effectively what we're doing. We're creating an API, which is, so API stands for Application Programmer Interface, right? So this, this here, right? I know we are typing it in right now, right? But this very same thing, right? We can use a curl command, right? And do it from the command prompt as well, right? So we can do curl, okay, and put a get method, right? Get, right? And then we can put the URL. So this is the URL over here. In fact, we'll just use this first part of the URL just to show you. Then Okay. And look at that, right? It sent us back the exact response that we told it to send, right? Whenever something hits that endpoint, it should send this response. Now, the same thing we can do with this also, right? We can send in more and more things. But the beauty of it is it's programmatic. Why is that beautiful? Because all applications out there, right, of any noteworthiness interact this way with each other, right? Without human intervention. That's the whole point, right? Automation. So you're connecting various pieces of application that are transforming data, moving data from one point to the other, doing some transformations. And this is where APIs become very important, right? They help programs interact with each other. And this will become more and more important and apparent when you start doing week 3 and then you start doing the project, right? So that's why I took you through this demonstration. Are you guys okay so far, or is it very boring? I mean, I've been talking a lot, so is that
Okay, sir.
okay?
That's interesting.
Okay. So now you should try this out, okay? I've put the link already, the Vercel app, right? So hopefully you guys are
Uh,
also trying out. Yeah,
can I ask you a question? It's a
yeah,
request actually, genuine
yeah,
request.
yeah,
So, being very new to programming and doing a standalone course for data science from IITM. So,
yeah.
what would you suggest one to go through before getting knowledge or before registering for TDS? Because whatever the knowledge that you are sharing and for other courses, I was able to grab what the teachers were saying but here, I think there should be so much knowledge regarding HTML and application building and JSON and everything. So, what is the prerequisite that you suggest for those who
Okay,
are opting for data science only? Because
okay.
yeah, understood that you were suggesting if we feel this hard, we have to drop the course. Yeah, but next time also we need to register the course.
Hmm.
For the next time, oh, to register the course for the next time, what are the prerequisites that we have to do on our own to complete this TDS, to gain much knowledge from the course? I'm sorry, I'm asking this question at this point of time. I've been controlling myself since
Yeah,
week, and I'm asking this question right now. I'm sorry for asking it late, but
sure, sure.
I really need a suggestion, sir.
Okay. First thing is, did you follow everything that I was doing today?
Yeah, yeah, I understood most of it, but I
Fantastic.
couldn't. Yeah, most of it I can uh, grab it, but if you ask me to do it on my own, I couldn't do it.
Yeah,
That's
okay.
the
I understood. Okay. So the reason for that is you're not able to do is you haven't practiced it yet, right? Once you start, so this will be recorded. You can always revisit this session. Once you start trying things out, that's the only way you can learn this, right? The beautiful thing is I'm very happy that you followed most of it because that means you will be able to cope with this course. If you are not if even after what I did today, if you are not able to cope with what I was saying, then I would say, yeah, you are not ready for this course, right? Um, but the fact that you were able to follow it, and we will do some more advanced things now, okay, soon, okay. The fact that you were able to follow it means I think you'll be able to cope with it. It will take some time and it will take practice, and you will have to invest some effort into it, no doubt. Only then, once you get familiar with how it feels and things like that, then it will work out okay. In terms of prerequisites, because you asked the question now, I'll just quickly answer it. If you want to be really good at it, right, the key thing is to understand, first of all, you should know how Python works very well, right? So, because most of the things we'll do via Python and also the bash. Both of these things are important, right? So the bash terminal, how to do the commands and things of that sort, understanding how applications work in Linux, those sort of things. If you have those understanding, then you should be able to cope with it. Plus, you pay attention to these sessions. In TDS, the sessions are very important. Most students in the past terms, they'll tell you that the sessions were the most useful things to them. So that's kind of the advice I can give. I hope. I mean, I don't know if that answers your question, right? But I hope that.
yeah, it does. Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Okay. Right. So moving quickly on, unless you guys have some questions, other
Excuse
questions.
me,
Yeah.
sir.
Yeah.
Sir, a small doubt. Sir,
Sure.
are these sessions being recorded?
Yes. They are being recorded. But the
Where can I access these recordings? Like, if I want to revisit this so that I could understand, because this is very like this is first time for me to go through all these,
yeah.
so
So
I
we
can't
will put it
understand
on
them
YouTube.
very clearly.
Correct. Yeah.
Okay.
We will put it on YouTube. Yeah.
Mm.
So it will be on the YouTube channel for TDS. Okay. And the channel
Okay,
link
sir.
is
Okay. Thank you, sir.
someone, if you could please paste it in the window for Peddy, I think it was it Peddy?
Sir, there will be a class tomorrow too.
Yes, there will be a class tomorrow. Okay. So now you guys understood, right, how to read key value pairs, because that's what these are called, key value pairs from the URL, right? Sending query parameters, right? So we'll move now forward from
Sir,
that.
what was the content of Vercel.json? Can you please show again?
Yeah. So Versel.json, right? I explained this earlier in the session. It has a build which tells it, okay, what's the source of the build files and what to use in order to build them. And then the roots. And I explained this earlier in the session. So I would suggest, I don't want to go over and over again because I want to cover other things. But if you rewind back to earlier in the session, once this recording has been uploaded, you'll see my explanation for that. Okay. But that's, if you want to take a screenshot, that's what.
Actually, I saw that, but I wanted to see how it is connected to Vercel. That's why.
So it's connected to Vercel by the fact that it's in this repo, this Git repo. This Git repo is then I showed how to import it into Vercel. So when you connect your Git repo to Vercel, any changes you do in your repo automatically reflects in Vercel. So that's what makes Vercel so fantastic. Okay.
Another thing, you wrote some other APIs, right? Like APIs slash a param.
Yeah.
So
This is also
write
this is also
anything in Vercel?
Sorry, don't you have to? What was the question? Sorry.
Do we have to write something in the Vercel.json also to make it effective?
Not necessarily, because here I said whatever route it is, right? Whatever route is hitting that domain, right? This is the domain, right? So if you look here, this is the domain, right? Can you see this?
Yes.
Yeah. So whatever route hits this domain or slash anything, right? I'm saying whatever it is, send it to this file. Index.py will handle it. Now, in theory, you could create several endpoints, several routes, right? So you can put a comma here and then create more endpoints, right? See, so it gives some suggestions, and you could have different destinations handle it, right? Different files can handle. So you can segregate it that way. But I don't want to complicate it because many people are new to this, so I want to keep things simple, but still cover all the important aspects. So that's why I didn't make more routes. But this is how you can handle more routes. Okay.
Okay, sir.
Okay. But what I've said is all routes you send it to this, and we'll just work with this one file. Okay. Next thing. Okay. Now let's do something useful. Okay. So far we have only looked at some query parameters. We know how to get some inputs, right? But we are not doing anything useful with that input, right? So let's do something useful with the input. So we'll now what we'll do is we'll create a post request. So these requests so far, you saw this get. So when you're interacting with web services online, right? Any web service, there are typically several methods. Okay, one is a get method. Get method is for getting information, and in fact, that's what it did, right? When we ran this, right, it got us some information. And I hope you guys have tried the URL endpoint that I put in the window, in the chat window, right, with your own experiments to see how it works. In fact, I'll pin it. I hope you guys can.
One thing, sir, I write in the terminal also using the curl command, but your response is different than mine. Like I got some a bunch of words I didn't recognize.
The app should work for anyone because it's exposed to the world. So it depends what endpoint you have triggered. So if I look at the logs, right? So it depends. So these are all to the main endpoint. So someone has, that's maybe me, I don't know. Yeah, 127.0.1. So that's probably, no, maybe, I don't know. You guys can try it out. Okay. Try the endpoint out. It looks something like this. Yeah, something like this. So this part I put in the chat window, and then API/params, and you can try and see what it gives you when you put different query parameters. Okay, so you know how that works. So that's a GET request. Okay, you get information back from a GET request. That's typically what happens in a GET request. In a POST request, you're going to send some substantial information, right? And that information is not necessarily going to come through the URL, right? It'll be a very long day if you send lots of things through the URL. Plus, when you send things through the URL, it's exposed to everybody out there on the web. So sometimes you want to send things a bit more securely and things of that sort. So you will send it through a POST request. This is not strictly true. I'm just making it easy for you to understand. So don't use this in an answer in an exam, okay? But if you want to think of it in simple terms, GET request is visible to everyone because it comes through the URL, and POST request is coming in an envelope of some sort, okay, to the web server. So let's do that. Let's create a POST request, and we'll send something useful now, okay? We want our Vercel application to do something useful. Okay, so what is the useful thing? Okay, let's create some jobs. Okay, we'll make this application a job application, some sort of job server. Okay, when I say job server, means some kinds of tasks that we want to add to a list, delete those tasks, add tasks, and then make it intelligent somehow. Okay, so first, of course, we want to create some jobs, right? So we'll create some jobs. We'll call it API create. How original? Yeah, very original. Okay, so we'll say create, and then we want to create some sort of job. Okay, so we'll call it job. That's okay for a variable name, but I want to actually give it an object. So I'll call the object also a job. Now you might be thinking, what is this object? Right? We haven't defined this object. Okay, now one doesn't matter. We'll fix that in a second. Next thing is, what do I want to do? I want to put it, now ideally I want to put it in a database, but because we don't want the complications of a database at the moment, we'll just create a list. Okay, everybody happy with that? We'll just create a list. Yeah. Yes, no?
Yes, sir.
Okay, we'll create a list. Okay. Jobs list. Okay, great. And then I'll say jobs.append, yeah, and job. So whatever this job is coming, this post object, right? We want to append it to the list. Now, typically you will connect it to a database and actually insert it on the database. Okay, but we'll not worry about that right now. I'll leave that for you guys to explore because this course is not about becoming a database expert, right? And we'll also just have a look that it did the job correctly, right? So we'll also tell it, okay, when you add a job, I want to actually see the job also. So we can do this, right? Okay. So that's all it will return to us. Now we haven't defined this object, so let's do that. Let's create a job object. Okay. So what I'll do is I'll use something called pydantic, okay, because that's very useful for creating nice, neat little models that help us to manage information very well. And we'll create a class now called job. And don't worry about the syntax too much, okay? But you'll see why this is very useful. And a job requires some sort of name, right? So we'll put name string. Yeah, we want a string. And maybe a job maybe has some cost to it, right? So we'll call that, we'll take an integer and maybe a start date, right? We'll put a start date. And we'll make this a little more complicated. We'll call this date time. Okay. Now we might need a datetime object, so we'll also from datetime. So something very important in tools for data science or any sort of data manipulation, date times are very common, right? So even in the end term, this will be important, right? Knowing how the datetime things work in Python and all the rest. So, right, oops, should be data. Okay, so we created a job. Great. Now, okay, yeah, this looks good. That's it. That's all I wanted to do. Create a job, add it to a list. Look how simple that was, right? I created a model for the job. I said it will come in like this, and it will have these attributes to it. Of course, I had to add these libraries, but that's okay. And let's test it out, right? Yeah, I mean, this unbelievable, right? That this so much can be done. A CRUD operation can be done just by doing this. Okay. So for those of you who don't understand what CRUD means create. Can someone help me out? Create something. Create R.
Update,
Yeah. So create, create, update, delete. That's CRUD operations, right? Okay, great, fantastic. You guys are awesome. So let's have a look. Let's have a look. Okay, so I thought I updated it. Let's see. It has been committed. Yes. Okay. It's just now. Okay. Great. Okay. Now here's a problem. We can't send a post through the URL. Okay. We can't do it. So we'll have to send it via this a curl command or something. Yeah. So we'll have to send it via curl command, right? And in order to do that, you'll have to send a couple of things, right? You'll have to send the URL, which is what we have already seen. You have to send a header of some sort to make it know what kind of application it is. And the third thing is you'll have to send it the request body itself, right? So, so those are the things you want to send in your curl command. So we'll say curl,
Yes.
right? And we will say the method, right? So the method is post, right?
Post.
And then we give it the URL. So we have this URL here. Copy this. Oops. I keep making this mistake all the time. Okay, right. Okay, and then we have to send it to the right endpoint, right? So the endpoint was API, no, yeah, API create, yeah. So we'll send it to this endpoint, API create, API. By the way, you don't have to wait for me to do this. Those of you that are that have the application, you can already try this. Okay, the server is live. So API create, okay, and then we want to send a header of some sort. So this slash I put here is so that I can do it multi-line. Okay, so I put dash h, and I'll say content type. Okay, so this tells the application what kind of application it is. So this is a JSON, right? I want to send a JSON. So JSON are these. This is a JSON, right? And if you don't know what a JSON is, watch week 1 sessions. Okay, it's covered over there. So I'm not going to talk about this. But this is a JSON application, which is typically how APIs work. Okay, that's why it's very important. Where is it? Yeah. So JSON, okay, that's great. And then we want to send some data. So I'll put dash D, right? And notice I changed the quotes here now, okay? And you'll see why. So I'm going to send a JSON body now, okay? That's how we send these post requests to the application. And there are 3 things, right? We had a name, I think. Did we have a name? Yeah, we have a name, cost, and start date. So name, So the first job. Anyone want to give me a job name, like a kind of job? Paint the house or something? Paint the house. So you guys will have to come up. Yeah, you guys will have to come up with some more. Okay, I'll give you the first one for free.
Alton, I forgot
What's the
how
mark?
do we go to the next line without executing it?
You put a slash. This slash you put.
Okay.
Okay. So cost painting the house. Let's just say it's 200, right? Painting the house, and then we'll give it a start date, right? Start. Yeah, it's underscore. So start underscore date, and we'll give it a date. Date usually, I think it has to be in some sort of UTC format, right? So not UTC format. It's ISO something, right? So I have to look that up because I don't remember the exact format. So date time object Python. Let's see, date time object Python. So I think it is something like this: 25, 25, 45, 21. And then I think we put a T, most likely something like this. If it goes wrong, it goes wrong. So it doesn't matter. And now the time is 9 o'clock. So 21 and 29. Okay, 0, 0. Okay, great. We'll do it this way and see what happens. Hopefully it works. If it doesn't, then it doesn't. Okay. So I've created the post request. Okay. So this is the post request. And let's see what happens. Okay. This is the sending. Oops. That was correct, right? That is the command we sent just now. exp create. Yeah. Oh, right. Oops. Okay. Not a decimal. Okay, so it did send the response back, and it said not a decimal between 0, okay, and 6535. So some error happened. Right. Okay. Let's look at this again. I'm missing. Oh, I can't see the edge of my screen. That's not helpful. Okay. Oh, right. I spotted the error. So I didn't close the quotes. Okay, that's why it didn't work, I think. Why is this not working? Okay, sorry about this.
So why don't you use Postman?
Yeah, we could do so, but I was just hoping that we could have just used this directly. It was working earlier, so I'm not exactly sure what I'm getting wrong here. Let's see if I've got some ready example here.
Uh, it might need
Yes.
a port number in the digit format. This would work because it is having the 8000, right?
Oh,
I'm
right. Yeah,
trying.
yeah, yeah. No, it should. No. That this is okay. This, see, it doesn't need a port number because it should go through the post directly. If I look at the logs here, 22. Okay, let's see what the error is. 422. Understood the context, but unable to process the instructions. Okay. All right. API create. So I got that. It got the job here. It should have appended it there, so that's fine. The header is fine. Try again. Did I do this format correctly? I wonder. It should be this way. Content type. JSON. And typically it will be this form. So name. Okay, we'll make one small change. Okay, just to avoid this complication. Just for now, we'll just put the name for now. Just to try it out. Can always correct, add complication later. So I'll push and commit this. And then we'll go back to doing this and see.
Did you add the method in the app?
Yeah, here it's post, right?
Okay.
Yeah. If it doesn't work, we'll get the help of our TDS GPT. Paint house. Yes. Close the quote. Oh, okay. Body cost. Field required. Okay, I think the deployment has not finished yet. Let's see. Okay, let's reload this. Yeah, deployment is not yet ready. So it's still, I committed it? Oh, no, I haven't committed it. Okay, so, right. Okay, let's have a look
It is
back again.
working. It is working. The post
Yeah.
request is working now.
Yeah.
Right? Or is something else not working?
Yeah, I just committed it just now. So we'll see now if it, yeah, so it's ready now. So let's try that. Yeah, so it worked. Okay. So yeah, so nothing changed. Okay, nothing has changed. It's just curl, the dash x, the post, the endpoint, the content. So this is the header. Dash h is the header, and then you've got the dash d is the data that you're sending. It's inside this JSON body. Okay, and its job is called paint house. So this is the response we got back. Okay, because that's what we said. We want a response back. Now we'll just add a small wrinkle to this. Okay, we'll add this wrinkle one. So now I've said we want an integer for cost. I'll commit this, the changes. Yeah, so it's done. Now we'll go back, have a look. Yeah, so it's building right now, adding cost to the field. Yeah. Yeah, so I think it's ready now. Let's so run this same request again. It was probably some small tiny mistake. Okay, that probably was the issue. So cost, and we'll put the number to 100 or something like that. Okay, and let's give it a try. Yeah, that also worked. See, so that's on there. Okay, great. Now we don't know, has it added the jobs to the job list, right? We assume it has, right? So let's add another endpoint. Let's get the jobs. Okay. Good idea, right? To see if it's working properly or not. So it's a get request. Define get jobs. Yeah, we want to see the jobs, right? Whatever is stored on the server. Now, meanwhile, I want you guys to add some more jobs to the list. Okay. So add some more jobs to the list, and so I'll just sync this up first. Okay. So as soon as this application is ready, so it's queued, yeah. So as soon as this is ready, I want all of you to add some jobs to the list. So a few of you, if you add some jobs to the list, then we'll see, is it working or not. So it's building. Okay. It's probably ready by now, I think. Yeah, ready. Okay. So give it a go. Add some jobs to the list. Use the curl command, just like I've done over here, and add some jobs to the list. Now, typically, right, you don't have to do it from the command prompt, right? You can, like someone said, use Postman, which I know some of you don't know what that is. I'll show it in some other session. I won't show it today. Or you can use a Python script itself to create some dictionary objects and send it to this endpoint, right? So it's programmatically quick and easy. Obviously, no one's going to do this manually again and again, right? They will just trigger the endpoint using a requests. So some of you might have seen this request library, right? I'll just quickly show you here. Right, so right, so you can send using Python rather than the command bash prompt, right? You can send requests. So you can send a post request, and you can send data to. So here's a post request somewhere here. Make a request. Yeah. So you can see you can send requests like this way also. Okay. So you create a Python file and you give it the address. You tell the data you're sending. And of course, you want to put some header also in there, but you send the key value pairs. And that's exactly what this is, right? Key value pairs that we're sending. Except here we're using a curl command from bash, and you can also use Python to send it. And then once that is done, then we can see what it's. So have you guys sent some requests? Yeah, so there's some requests here.
Sir, I just posted my CRUD command, but it's not working with me. But I'm posting it using Ubuntu. Is there any error? Can you please tell me?
It should work because if I post on here, right? So if I say like paint the house or something, right? It adds it on the job because see, I'm not using my local machine. Okay, just see this. This is not my local machine. This is on Vercel, right? So the same thing you guys should have access to. It will not be different for you. So let's say I put another job. Okay, so another job is remove the weeds from the garden. Okay, and we'll give it a cost of say 200. Okay. Remove the weeds from the garden. Okay, that's great. Now remember we created a new endpoint called API jobs, and all it was supposed to do was tell us what jobs have been added onto the server, right? So if I go here, well, actually I really ought to create a what do you call for it? Actually, I don't even need to do this, right? I can do it from here only. So I can do API because this is a normal GET request. So I can say API jobs, I think it was called, right? Yeah. Hey, someone put shopping on there, 5,000. Someone put, someone put spraying the pesticide. See, I didn't add these, right? So some of you guys have been using the API, right? So yeah, so jobs are being added on the server. Great. So we know how to look at jobs. We know how to create jobs. We'll just add one more operation. Okay. We'll add one more operation, and then we'll make the application intelligent. So I'm sure you guys are waiting for that also. So I'll say app dot delete, right? Or shall we leave that as a homework or something? Nah. We'll show you this delete operation. Delete. Okay. And when we want to delete, we'll give it another endpoint. We'll call it delete. And this time I'm going to show you something different, right? So far you've seen query parameters, query parameters. But now we'll send a normal parameter. Okay. And we need a job number, right? To delete the job. So that's what we'll do. We'll do that. Define delete. Actually, we'll call it delete job in case it's a reserved keyword. Delete job. Right. Yeah, we want a job number. So this comes from here. Now this is a named variable. Okay, so it has to be the same one over here. So job number int. Okay, and yeah, that's sensible, right? In a list, you don't want any job number to be below 0, so that's okay. Or job number to be greater than the number of jobs. That's okay. So if it is that, then send an error back. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, that makes sense. Jobs, pop the job out of the list because we're using a list. Okay, and it will tell you what job was popped up. Yeah, this looks fine. Okay, so that's to delete the job. So let's try that now. I'll commit this now. Sync the changes. Okay. Now Vercel is not only for APIs. Okay. So far I'm showing you APIs because it's just straightforward to show you how it works. Right. You can also use it to show web pages and things. Right. A simple function that a web page that you want a web page to do. So we got all these jobs on here. In fact, I'll refresh this in case others have sent more jobs. Oh, oh yeah. Okay. So the reason why there are no jobs now is we rebuilt it, right? So whenever we rebuild it, because we are not connected to a database, it loses the list. Okay. So that's just one slight downside for not having a database, but that's okay. You guys can quickly send some more jobs to it. Okay. So yeah. I think it is ready now. So we can just reuse some of our previous jobs that we put. So there was remove weeds, and there was cook dinner because some of you might be hungry, right? And so I don't know, groceries maybe were 50 rupees or something. I cook dinner. Okay, and then I hope you guys have sent some jobs in, and we will have a look here now. Yeah, great. Okay, now let's delete some. Let's delete some of these. Okay, so let's try the delete job number. So we'll go here. Actually, I'll take this one here. And the API was, I think, delete, right? Delete, yeah. Delete and a job number. So we'll say delete. And this time we're using a named parameter in the URL. So we can say delete number 2, okay? Because that's very expensive. So let's do that. Let's delete number 2. Delete 2. Ooh, method not allowed. Interesting. App delete job number. Oh, I wonder why that is. App delete. It could be because maybe we're not allowed to send it in the URL. Yeah, URL only takes GET requests. So this one we might actually have to send a curl request. So it's a curl -x delete and use the URL here. I did it again. And this time we'll say delete, and we'll put the job number too. Okay. Let's see what happens. Yeah, so it deleted it. So let's check and see if that really happened. So I'm going to refresh this. It's gone, right? And someone added another job. So yeah, so we've got within a very short period of time complete CRUD operations. Delete and okay, we don't have update, but yeah, delete and create. Now we'll go on to the piece de resistance. Okay, we want to make this intelligent now, right? So let's add some intelligence to this. So perhaps we want to know how to do these jobs, right? We have given jobs, but we don't know how to do them. So wouldn't it be nice if we get an LLM to tell us how to do these jobs, right? So we can do that. We'll call this dot yeah, we'll say get, and then put a slash, say API / steps, and then we want to give the job number we want the steps for. So it's steps job number. Yeah, that's good. And then we'll say yeah, we want to generate some steps. We'll call it generate steps. Okay. And yeah, we need a job number. Generate steps for that job. Okay, and we'll not worry about the error for now. We'll just keep it simple. Something else will be useful is maybe if you're using LLMs, we want to perhaps have a key. Okay, only if you have this key, then you're allowed to generate some jobs, because LLM is costly to use or whatever, right? So we'll do that. We'll call it top secret, right? Some top secret key. Okay, and then if there is no key, then you're not allowed to use it. Oops. No. Okay. And then we'll return and say that. So remember, and a return is always going to be a JSON, right? So, yeah, we can say top secret key is not set. Yeah, that's fine. Oops. Yeah. Okay, great. And next thing is we will want some place to get this LLM from, right? So in our situation, we will use a local LLM. Okay, we will use a local LLM, and in order to use the local LLM, we will do one thing. We'll set up two services. So one is, what's the time now? Oh man, it's 9:50. Okay, I was hoping to get more done today. Actually, it's going to take more than. So I've got a hard stop at 10 because I have to leave the premises by then. Okay. Okay. What we'll do is, okay. I'm sorry we can't actually get into this today. But what we'll do for next session, right, is so that you're aware of what I'm going to do, what I'm trying to do. I'm going to install another service, okay, and we'll install Olama, okay. Once we install Olama, we will see that it's working and it's pingable from our service, right? And once it's pingable from our service, we will have it generate the steps for the jobs. And next, we will Dockerize it. Okay, we will Dockerize it and we will run it. And that will be what will be for next session. I'm sorry we can't get into the rest of it today. This it will just take a bit longer than I have time available. Okay, so I do apologize for that, but I hope you understood how APIs work, and you understood how Vercel deployments work, and you can see why it is so useful, right?
Yes.
Within no time, we were able to create some endpoints, create some application that can run without the need of hosting a full server, right? So we will stop here today. Any
Excellent.
questions you guys have before we
So,
wind up today's
yeah,
session?
finally, yeah. Actually, today I joined late, so will this video be available?
There is a lot of noise. I can't hear. Is it?
Hello.
So he was asking for a recording.
Okay.
Hello. Today actually I joined late, so will this video be available?
Yes, yes, yeah. We will upload the video first.
By tomorrow?
We will try.
Okay, okay, okay. Thank you.
Okay. And
Sir, can you recap
sorry?
just what we have done in this session?
Yeah. I can quickly recap. So what we did
Yes.
was we first of all we created a repository, right? And we created a GitHub repo all from CLI. And then after we did that, we we did the basic requirements for Vercel, which is we told what is required. So in this case, we just needed a fast API, and that was all that was required to build the Vercel application. And then we told Vercel how to build it. So we need a Vercel.json in the root of the um, repository. And the structure for it is this way: you have builds, and you have the source and the what is used to build it, and the roots that are built. And then, of course, we have the application itself, and we built some endpoints for that application. So we used FastAPI, and we created endpoints that did some CRUD operations, and we were able to interact with it. I also showed you how you can retrieve query parameters from the URL, how to get the name value pairs, regardless of the fact, even if the parameter names are the same. And then we built some CRUD operations using an object, okay, which can have any number of things and can be as complicated as you like. The post request that you send to it, it can come through curl, or it can come through a Python program, or it can come through Postman or anything. As long as you send a legitimate post request, it will work on here. And then our next step was to make our program intelligent and Dockerize it. So that would be the next step for next session, which is installing Olama, getting the service running, Dockerizing it, and then accessing the Docker container to run your application fully self-contained. So that's what I was trying to cover today. But
So today we have done only the Versel part, right?
yeah, Vercel and APIs, right? And how APIs work. Yeah.
Sir,
Yeah,
can you?
REST. I mean,
So we have completed REST APIs and Versel
yeah,
part.
we covered REST APIs, and actually, even though we didn't
Some part of
specifically
course,
deal,
right?
yeah, part of course. I mean, basically, course is just this, right? Which is this bit here. That's
Yeah.
all courses. This bit. Okay. This
And
allows the server
and have
to.
an issue. Can I audible? Sir?
You are breaking up quite a lot. I have a hard stop in 4 minutes. Okay. So whatever question you have, you'll have to.
Sir, can you
Yeah.
give the GitHub link for today's session? Like whatever you have done, can you push it and give the link?
Yeah, it is already pushed to GitHub. It's a public repo. So my advice is not to just blindly copy it, right? To really try it out yourself, because that's the only way you will learn it. So this is a public repo. You can see it's public. Um, it's not going to be helpful for you to just copy and modify it. Try this out yourself, just like how I did. Because only until you try it, right, you will not. Then you will start encountering errors. When you encounter errors is when you learn. So because you have to fix the errors. So my suggestion is you can look at this GitHub repo, but I would suggest you So I'll just copy this over here. I would suggest you try it out yourself. Make your own repo and try it out.
Thank you, sir.
Excuse me.
Sir,
Yeah.
I tried to deploy
Since
the app
in the
and
since
like
in the
followed
first
the
module,
steps.
Yeah. Sorry, who was that? Suhani. Yeah.
Yes, sir. Sir, I
Ah,
tried
okay.
to deploy the app and followed the steps, but I was getting 404 error.
Okay. We can't debug it at the moment, but what I would suggest is you can go through the video once we upload it and have a look at the application. And then tomorrow, if you are still not able to do it, then first thing in the session we'll do is we will just have a quick look at what issue you're facing. Okay. But if you follow these steps, you should be able to reproduce it. We didn't do anything that is not reproducible, right? All the things we did today is very reproducible by everybody. Okay.
Okay, sir.
excuse me, sir.
Yeah.
Since the
Yeah.
first
Thank you,
module
sir.
I haven't faced any issues, but in second module I am facing issues. Like
Yeah.
in development tools, I have idea what is VS Code and
Sure.
JavaScript,
Sure.
NPS,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
CSS. Most of them, I
Yeah.
haven't faced any issues. But
Yeah.
coming to the deployment part, I am
Yeah.
facing a lot of issues.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh,
That's why we're going to have
so
many sessions on it. Yeah.
okay,
Yeah.
I want to clarify that going through that documentation part and implementing those codes, is that enough, or else we need to do more and more things on that?
You have to be a bit more specific. Okay, I've got 1 minute. Something specific. What are you facing?
Uh, like coming to the markdown part,
Markdown is
I have gone to the
straightforward, right?
documentation.
Ah,
Yeah, going to the gone through that documentation, those commands.
yeah.
But while doing that, since there is a question, right? Uh, there is most of them is coming like incorrect, missing the lines or the.
All I
Here
can,
my main question is, how can we approach this new part like deployment part and coming to the next module LLM part? This is a
ah,
very new to us, right? Most of them.
yeah. We will cover the
How can we
sessions, right?
approach this?
You have the only way to approach it is by trying. That's all I can say. So what I showed today,
Uh,
you
I
try it
want to
out.
ask that.
Hmm.
I want to ask that the which part the information in the documentation is enough, or else
Should be,
we
yeah,
need to
yeah,
go
yeah.
through other resources.
No. The information in the documentation is enough. The videos are enough, and also the use TDS GPT if you run into errors to debug the errors. That will give you a clue as to where the mistakes are. Usually, the mistakes are very trivial. They are like a little, like today in the curl command. I was not getting it right, for some reason because
Yeah,
it looks correct, but some small mistake was there somewhere. So, but then afterwards we fixed it and it worked. So, so that's all it is, right? So use
so
TDS GPT to do the error debugging, but try out whatever is there that we have given. Okay, so this is a hard stop I have to make. I'm really sorry because the facility I'm in, the guards are not happy if I stay past a certain amount of time. Okay, so
yeah, sorry, it's okay.
thank you
You
very
can
much,
continue. Next.
everyone, and I hope this session has been useful to you. Okay, so.
Yeah, thank you, sir.
Uh, Next session, like I said, we will make the app intelligent. We'll Dockerize it. We'll deploy it, and you will. Then we can do some debugging and sort out any issues. Okay.
Thank you,
But
sir. Thank you.
every question in GA2 is doable. Okay, it is not impossible to do them. We all of us have tried it. By all of
Sir,
us, I mean
where can I find this TDS GPT?
TDS GPT. Go to the TDS main webpage, and at the bottom you will see it here somewhere. Here, virtual TA. Okay.
Yeah, okay. Thank you, sir.
Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Bye.